Hello, welcome to another episode of CrossTalk. My name is Kevin Tocci. I will be your host for the next 30 minutes. And as you're well aware, what we like to do with this particular program, and many of the programs that we have designed here at Whitman Hanson Community Access, and we use it as vehicles for conversations. And it depends on what those conversations are. CrossTalk, we use it as a model to help promote and enlighten and get information out to you, the resident in Whitman or Hanson. It could be anything from an upcoming event, it could be political, it could be an issue, it could be a new business in town. It doesn't matter. We use it to better inform you because that's our job. Today, we are doing the annual exercise of talking about one of the most unique and probably one of the best organizations when it comes to helping our children's future and help them as far as raise money for scholarships. Who am I talking about? Of course, I'm talking about the Whitman and Hanson Dollars for Scholars. And sitting beside me is none other than Mr. Michael Ganshirt. Michael is the president. Michael.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here once again.
Welcome back. We're here to talk a little bit about the 13th annual Taste of Whitman and Hanson. It's that time again.
It is, yeah. So we have gathered approximately 20 restaurants from not just Whitman and Hanson, but some of the outside communities. And they're going to be here in a short amount of time and giving us some samples of their food. I wish I had them here tonight and we could sample them here, but it'll be shortly. March 5th is the date, from 5:30 to 8 at the Whitman VFW. So we're excited about that.
What is it like? I mean, again, we're on the cusp of the event. What is it like getting ready for this annual event?
It's a lot of walking the street. So I continue to go to restaurants every day. Sometimes it's just to remind them that it's coming up. Because when you have something the first week in March, and February's a short month, sometimes people don't know it's right around the corner. So today I was passing out flyers, just reminding them that the event is coming up. So I'm basically work with more of the vendors instead of the ticket sales. Usually, thankfully, the tickets have sold themselves. People know about what a unique event it is, and they tend to buy the tickets either in advance or at the door, and that's usually, we do very well there. It's usually just trying to maintain a good relationship with the restaurant so that we are able to meet what they need to do and they're able to come to our events.
So I think it's interesting. I'm sure that you have the regulars who show up every year. Who are some of the folks who are the repeat visitors who enjoy this event so much that you know early on, you can count on me come March?
There's some people, there's probably about 4 or 5 that have been there since this is the 13th year.
Yep.
It's the Meadowbrooks, the Hitching Posts, the Shaws, the McGuigans, Christos, Pinches and Pounds. Those are basically our mainstays. Trio Cafe. Those are the ones that have been there year after year after year. And I think some of the other restaurants, the newer restaurants that we have, would have, but some of them are newer restaurants, so they weren't around 13 years ago when we started the event.
So as we're leading up to the event, what are some of the things that you make sure that, again, you talk about having at least 20 restaurants that participate in this. What are some of the other things that your organization does as kind of a housekeeping thing to make sure that this is going to be, yet again, a successful event?
Well, I think what we try to do is we try to get a variety of different kind of places for the event. So in other words, you're not going to have all sub shops or pizza shops or food restaurants. So we try to give it a good collection. So you've got bakeries, you've got caterers, you've got full service restaurants, you've got chocolatiers. So we try to make sure that we have a good mix of restaurants so that it appeals to the public, and so far we've been successful.
I think it's also worth noting that you also are inclusive of schools. I know that one of the VOTEC schools that Whitman and Hanson is a part of, South Shore VOTEC.
Sure. They have a great culinary arts department, so why not ask them if they would like to show what they do? And it's the Brass Lantern Restaurant at South Shore VOTEC. This is probably the 3rd or 4th year that they've been there. Prior to them, we had Southeastern Technical Institute, which is out of Southeastern Regional, but it's their evening school. Yep. So they were using it as a way to show the public what some of the programs that they offer at their location at night for adult evening education. So we've had a couple like that, and it's worked out very well.
Is there anything that you're anticipating or anything that you look forward to every year? Again, I know you're usually, anybody who's ever been to the event, Michael is the blur that you see zipping from one end of the room to the other at the Whitman VFW post 697, where he's, working his way around the room, make sure everything's okay. He's also on top of the raffles and making sure everything's going smoothly. But is there something that you look forward to during the night?
Yeah. Well, there is, and the thing that I look forward to is a lot of the people that go there. There's some of our community people, but there's some of the people that come back year after year after year. So it's good because it's kind of like just a party that I get to throw because I know most of the people that are there.
Right.
So I like that part of it, that there's a social nature to it as well with the people that show up for the event.
How important is this event? I see it as one of the Dollar for Scholars, the Whitman and Hanson Dollar for Scholars signature event. Yeah. Is that true, or is it one of many signature events that you have?
This would be our major event, I think, and it does pull both communities together. A lot of our events we have in Whitman, and sometimes they tend to attract Whitman residents, and events we have in Hanson. This is one of the few events where it really does cross town lines, and we tend to have half and half, and it tends to work out very well.
Now I know each year there's a bar that's set, and how do we know there's a bar? Well, you just have to look at Town Hall lawn. There's usually this very large, colorful thermometer that it gauges how much needs to be raised. Right. Where's the bar set this year? Is it a similar amount, or has it been raised?
We're looking to raise $135,000 this year, which is a lot, but we did pretty well last year. We did about the same last year, so we're hoping to do that this year. Last year we had a big jump. We went from like 128 to 135. So this year, if we can maintain 135, we'd be happy. So that's where we are. And the thermometers will be up probably the beginning of April. They're in storage now. So
are you looking forward to that?
I don't look forward to the thermometers because they blow over frequently. I don't know if you've ever driven by Hanson Town Hall in particular.
Face plant.
And so that means I do a lot of driving by just to make sure that they're still there, you know what I'm saying, and still upright. So that's the only part I don't do that.
But isn't there a way to be able to anchor those so that they don't go?
I'm not a physicist. Maybe one of our graduates that goes on to college can come back and actually help us with that project.
Something to keep in mind.
Exactly.
It's funny you say that. Maybe that's something that you talk to one of the Eagle Scouts who's looking for a project.
Excellent.
Help us solve our problem where our thermometer keeps blowing over. Yeah. There has to be a system.
Yeah.
Maybe what they do is they can put like a rocking thing. Maybe you kind of put it on.
Yeah. Somebody had dampers down below that was supposed to help, and it didn't
work.
Hanson, it's very windy on Hanson Town Hall lawn. That's what I'll say. So
it's good. It's definitely good to know. So we're talking about the food, talking about the different restaurants that are showing up. New restaurants. Do you have any new eateries or restaurants or bakeries that are going to be attending this year?
We have a couple that have confirmed. They're both relatively new out of the town of Abington. Okay. The Sarcastic Swine Barbecue. I haven't been to it yet, other than the fact that I visited to meet the gentleman. But,
I hear great things. I hear fantastic things about it.
That is on Route 18, further down past Trukey's.
It's like a little strip mall. And
you don't even know it's there, and then
drive right,
So he was excited to come because it expands his market area. So he's coming, and then in Abington, Giardino's, the Italian restaurant that
right across from the high school,
right
middle
across from
school,
the high school,
town hall.
That opened a couple years back. Exactly.
Glenowitz Way.
Yeah, I don't know what they're serving yet, but I'm saying I assume it's going to be something Italian. I would just assume, but we'll find out that night. So that's the only good thing. You would like to know in advance, but you play it by ear, and it's always usually a good selection.
Now, there's also raffles. How do you go about getting stuff for raffles? And do you seek assistance, or do you already have kind of a stash that you put out there where folks can bid on and help, raise the bar for money?
Yeah. Well, when we first did it, we tried to make most of the raffles be gift cards to food restaurants. So if a restaurant couldn't participate, they could submit a raffle item. Yeah. Now we obviously take it from other different merchants, but that was our idea. So if they said no to us and they couldn't participate, it was a way for they could help out. So we have basically a lot of gift cards, and we also have our lottery scratch ticket basket and a 50-50 raffle and stuff like that. So we do very well on it. So.
But do you ever look for assistance? Let's say if somebody in the next week wants to donate, or do you accept donations for that event?
And this is what happens is usually I have 20 because only 20 really fit on a table, and we're always pressed for room at the VFW because it's usually packed with people and restaurants. Sure. But usually I have 20, and usually somebody from a restaurant will come, and they'll say, oh, can you raffle this off? Can you raffle that off? And I don't usually know. It's usually a participating restaurant. And I don't usually know until they actually arrive that night. So we always have a little extra stuff going on there. So.
Are you surprised that after 13 years, that leading up to your 13th year, that this event has such a degree of success that it's something that you count on year in and year out?
I am surprised because every year I go through that 2 or 3 days before I say, well, ticket sales aren't very good. This is going to be the year that it really crashes. And every year I just have to mind myself and not worry about it because every year people tend to come. People are a little bit more last minute in terms of buying their tickets. So I can't get too nervous. But I'm always surprised because I always feel like one of these days people aren't going to come, but they always do. So in that regard, that's good for us.
What's your selling point? Because my selling point would be, I'm somebody who I like to go out with my significant other, and I like to go to different restaurants, and I like to travel around the South Shore, and I like to try different foods, and I want to try foods that I wouldn't normally be able to make at home. That it's not easy. It's something that's out of the ordinary, and this is an opportunity to maybe to expand. The places that I go to. And like it says, I go anywhere from Weymouth and Braintree right down to Plymouth and the Cape. But I kind of stay in the Whitman, Hanson, Abington area per se, Greater Brockton area.
My selling strategy is just you're gonna have to eat that night, right? So why don't you come here? You can eat, and all of the money that you pay for your food is going to a charity. So I use that kind of angle. But what you say is true, and it's good for me because I don't usually experiment too much. So it is a good night for me because then I get to pick things that I probably wouldn't ordinarily select. So
that is true, and I always look forward to. And you mentioned a couple. You mentioned Trio Cafe. I look forward to seeing them. They're a very integral part of
the community.
Mike's House of Pizza, always there. Christo's To Go. You mentioned them. I know they're no longer Brockton, but now they have a nice establishment near Pounds and Pinches. Was it Pinches
and Pounds? But that's okay. She'll take it either way, I'm sure. It's good. Well, it is interesting because I don't associate when I think of Christos, I think of Gigi. You know what I'm saying? So when I look at Mike's, I think of Sparrow and John. You know what I'm saying? So what you say is true. I don't necessarily associate the restaurant with the food. I'm always thinking of the people behind it, and I think it's a good opportunity so you do get to meet the person that's behind the restaurant, behind the establishment.
Sure.
And they always help out with most of the businesses in town. We don't have a lot of businesses in Whitman and Hanson. And most of them are so gracious with their generosity, with their resources, and it really does help make our job a lot easier, community organizations.
And again, I'm going to continue to name off other ones. Skinner's Sugar House, East Bridgewater.
That's in East Bridgewater, yep.
They're always there, and I always get a little taste. Who's the organization that brings the bread the past couple of years?
Oh, Cast Iron Cafe.
Are they coming?
They are coming, yes. So.
Which is fantastic. If you love fresh bread, and they usually, if you're not there early, it's gone. It's gone within the first, I say, 90 minutes. People keep coming back on this. Is fantastic, and I would be remiss if I didn't mention McGuigan's Pub, where they got the shepherd's pie, and I'd be curious to see if maybe the patio somehow is there somewhere as well. I don't know this or not, but if you love shepherd's pie, that's fantastic. And again, I'm just off the top of my head, some of the organizations that are there. Okay,
Regal's Marketplace.
Regal's Marketplace, where they serve dinners.
Yep. They usually have deli meat, and they usually have some kind of meatballs or something like that.
And they're as is McGuigan's Pub and the Rosens.
Venus's,
they are very much a part of the community. Whether it's this event or the wine tasting that takes place. Sure. This is a pure community event, and you get to mingle with people that you don't see. You see selectmen, school committee people who are state representatives. You might even see a state senator. A committee person, a state committee person.
I've been telling people when they're picking up their nomination papers, if you need a good place to get signatures, you could eat and get signatures at the same time.
Running for selectmen or school committee, great place. Hey, could you, while you're eating that, you want to say right here? It'd be fantastic.
Exactly. So it's a very good gathering of a lot of different people in the community.
So what follows, not that we want to kind of put this one on the back burner, but what other events are coming up? This is your opportunity right now to promote those events.
Well, this is the springtime. This is the time that we raise most of our scholarship money. So it's a rapid fire events.
Of course.
There's the Taste of on March 5th, and then The 21st and 22nd, we're at the Hanson AA Bowling, Bowling for Dollars for Scholars,
Nice.
which is small bowling alley in Hanson, hometown
Fantastic.
bowling alley. You should go see it if you haven't. In April, we have a cut-a-thon at the John Russell Studio. I do not do the cutting myself. There are professionals there that do that. And I'm saving my hair for the cutting, as you can kind of tell.
Right.
Meat raffle at the end of April, and then we usually finish up with electronic recycling, which is if you got to get rid of your.
I have a ton of stuff.
There you go. So yeah.
How do you decide as far as how do you decide what if somebody wants to bring like one of those old TVs instead of the flat screens? I mean, how do you decide?
The prices are we get charged for some of the stuff that we contribute, so we pass that cost along. But there are a lot of we have a basic price list. But if you got some strange stuff, I use like a toaster if it's smaller than a toaster, it's $5. If it's bigger than a toaster, it's $10. So I kind of use that as a gauge. So and then while all that is going on, you'll see the students canning at the elections. You'll see them at a supermarket here and there. So that we kind of mix that in as we go along as well.
So I guess it's worth asking now. What's the process? Let's say there are prospective seniors out there, and if I'm correct, it isn't just for the folks for the students who go to the Whitman Hanson Regional High School, but if they go to the VOTEC, where we're part of that school district, they're eligible for that. For that money as well, right? Yeah.
So our scholarships are available to any student from Whitman that resides in Whitman or Hanson that have a 2.5 grade point average, and that's a graduating high school senior, or they're attending Whitman Hanson Regional High School. So that opens it up to school choice students for the first time this year. So if you're involved in any of those, you can apply for our scholarship. We no longer have the paper scholarship like they used to see back in school. We have it online. So it's something that's usually a little easier for the younger generation to do.
Do it on your smartphone, smart device.
You can do it, any kind of a media device, yes. The application went live February 1st, and it closes March 15th. So that's coming up. We had a scholarship information seminar at the high school, the Whitman Hanson High School today, just to go over some of the points on how to complete your online application. March 15th is the deadline. You have till midnight. It's open to as many people. A lot of people get nervous because they're like, oh, I'm not the smartest person, and I'm not sure. I've never been involved with Dollars for Scholars because we do have student volunteers. It's open to anyone. If you are a student volunteer, you do get the benefit. We give you extra points when it comes time to score your application. You get extra credit for being somebody who's volunteered for the group and helped raise money. But if you haven't, you can still apply. Last year we gave out 111 scholarships. We probably had about 120 applicants. What happens is some applications just don't get completed all the way, and so those kind of have to drop off. And if the points are a little bit lower sometimes, but we try to give as many students as we can because it is a community group. We're serving the community. Our money comes from the community, so we try to be as fair as we can.
And you're probably the perfect example. You're almost like the Cy Sperling of DFS, and that is
I'm not just a client.
Not only are you the president of this chapter, but you also were a recipient.
I was a recipient back in the day, yes, and I volunteered back in the day when I was in high school. So I've been involved with the organization for a long time. So it's helped me well.
Why do you do it? What's your passion? Because you love doing this.
I really do like doing it, and awards night is such a great night. I guess because I'm right on stage and I get to. I'm not handing out the awards, I'm announcing the awards, but I get to see how happy the families are, the recipients are, and the people that donate the money are. So it's really a win-win-win. So that's what I get.
What's the average amount, though? What's the average amount that a prospective student could get if their application is completed and that they meet all the qualifications?
Yeah. Well, our highest award usually is somewhere around $35,000. The minimum that we've done the last couple of years is $500, but you'll say $1,000 is probably would be the average amount if you're going to pick the medium amount. So the cost of colleges is astronomical. So I know it's just a drop in the bucket, but it's a nice drop in the bucket at least the first year. Ours goes out the second semester.
You know what it is? It's the books. It's the books where it's a new book every other semester because they changed 4 pages.
Yeah, sure.
That's fantastic. What's the process like as to picking them? Just again, remind the folks at home.
So it's an anonymous process. So the students apply online and they're assigned a number. So it's a 6-digit number. So when we have our awards committee, a group of 5 or 6 adults looking over the applications, they're looking at 11111. They're not looking at Kevin Tocci. So it's supposed to be very anonymous, which it is. We review them on 6 different topics, their SAT scores or AP scores, their testing, their grade point average, their employment, their activities, their goals and aspirations, and if they had any special or unusual circumstances that happened to them. We try to benefit them in that regard. So they get reviewed on 6 different topics, and they get scored based on that, and then the top student tends to get the top awards, and the lower students tend to get the lower of the awards.
And when do they, and just as a reminder, when are the results, or when does the organization send out
Notifications?
Notifications. You have
Yeah.
been selected for.
Right. So the application process ends March 15th. We give guidance counselors a week to put together their transcripts and stuff like that they submit to us. And then your applications are being reviewed probably for about 2 months. Come the beginning of, actually probably the middle of May is when we start making our decision. So usually a week before awards night, which is sometime around May 20th, we'll start sending letter notifications to the homes, just inviting them to awards night. Tell them they got an award. We can't tell you what it is, but you and your family are invited to participate on awards night. I think it's May 27th this year. Ooh. So it's at the high school, 6:30.
There's a sense of anonymity to this whole thing, where you won something.
You don't know quite what.
You don't know what.
Right. Anywhere from 500 to 3,400. Yes.
Hey, what's it like seeing that a student, regardless of what the amount is, jump up and down? I mean, what's that like for you as the president to see that? And maybe others in your organization, maybe you have a conversation, remember at last year's event, so-and-so was so excited. It was so happy, Yeah,
there's a lot of hugging going on, so that's kind of nice, I'm not a hugger myself, but I mean, amongst the donors and the recipients, it's very exciting. And afterwards, I'm only one person out of many, so,
right.
And I know I get labeled with as the face of the organization, and I appreciate people coming up and saying thank you for all you do, but it's a lot of people that do a lot of work. But that's nice afterwards as you're leaving to have people come up and thank you and for your work, and I know they're really thanking the organization. So
do I dare ask you to at least name off some of the key people? Now here's the thing. I'm putting him on the spot here, so if he misses your name, we'll have him back on in the next show. No, I mean,
sure.
No, but just some of the great people that you work with.
I haven't had any caffeine tonight, so this is good. So I can probably go slowly and think of everybody.
Wait, no Coca-Cola?
No, it's Diet Pepsi.
Diet Pepsi, sorry.
So my vice president is Jos Wanchers, or the vice president for Dollars for Scholars is Jos Wanchers. He was a professional fundraiser at MIT Library, so he's very helpful. He helps us craft most of our fundraising letters, and he always offers a lot of advice. Jean Dean and Paula Sutherland, those are our treasurers.
Okay.
Jean does our banking, Paula does our investments. As far as secretaries go, for recording secretary, we have Kathleen Woodward of Hanson. She takes our minutes. And then we also have 2 correspondence secretaries, Leslie Sullivan and Stephanie Poria. So I got through that part. But we also have other, Casey Mahoney, she's a Whitman person. She helps with the online applications. She's kind of like the lady that puts together all of the applications. They come in and runs the reports.
Make sure they drop in the right basket.
Exactly. She's the technical person in terms of that. And we have our awards committee is led by Tracy Dane-Deeney. She's the person that actually organizes the meetings for the awards committee and helps. It's two nights a week for 8 weeks for hours a night, and they have a lot of hard work. They like it that it's over in 2 months, but it's a lot of work for them at that time.
And I think what's interesting to put here is that A, obviously it takes a village for this to happen, and B, there's the reward you get is all the people hugging in the audience, and the joy that people are feeling that night when they have been recognized for a certain amount of money that they're going to put towards higher education.
And we do see some of these people also afterwards. 2 years, I was canning and Stop and Shop in Abington last year, and somebody came up, I got an award last year. He was just a freshman, but he put $1 in the thing, and he was so excited. He said, thank you guys so much. It was so helpful. He was going to Mass Maritime. So it's nice when you see people come back and are appreciative.
So we got less than 5 minutes left.
Okay.
And you made it this far without caffeine.
Without caffeine, that's
Bravo.
Right. Yeah.
If folks want to find out more information, whether they want to look for that application, whether they want to know some upcoming events, pertinent information.
Yeah. We have our website, which is www.whitmanandhanson.dollarsforscholars.org. It's a mouthful. It's a long one. But you can Google it and you'll find us. And on there you'll find There's a portal for the students to go to if they want to apply for their scholarships. The front page usually has our event that's coming up, the newest event. We have a calendar of events on that page as well, and it also, if you want to volunteer, there's another page that you can go to volunteer. So they can go to that. We'll also be sending out our annual appeal. It usually drops the last week in March to the residents of Whitman and Hanson, asking them once again for their generosity and if they could make a gift to Dollars for Scholars. We hope they can.
And if we could circle back around to where this conversation all began.
Food.
Food. We probably want to make sure we give the important information out in regards to March 5th. It's a Thursday.
Yep.
I think it's what? Is it 5:30 to 8?
5:30 to 8 at the Whitman VFW.
Yeah. Tickets. Are tickets available locally?
Right.
Or is there a way for them to get tickets? And how much are tickets?
Tickets are $15 per person if you buy them in advance.
It's a steal.
It is. They're $20 at the door. You can buy them in 5 locations in the community: Duval's Pharmacy, Sandy's Coffee Corner, Ford's Insurance, or the town clerk's office in Whitman or Hanson, in either of the town halls, which is a good time because it's early voting, so you can do your early voting and buy a ticket to the Taste of Whitman and Hanson. And also, you can order them now through eventbrite.com, which is the online mechanism that you can use to order tickets. I think they're a little more because you pay for the $1.49 service charge, so they're $16.49 if you bought them online. But sometimes that's convenient for people.
Well, Michael, I want to thank you again for informing the public.
You'll be at the Taste of, do you think, this year? Or?
I don't think I've missed one yet. I think I've gone to every single one of them.
As well,
I think I have. And I'm going to just say this, just as a disclaimer, $15, 15.
That's right, yes.
$15. Think of what you would normally spend for a night out for dinner, whether it's cocktails. I believe that there's actually, you have the bar there, right?
There is the bar open.
There's a bar there. But think, if you're spending $15 and you're sampling all these foods, and possibly you might pick a new restaurant or two, it's well worth the $15 it's going to a good cause. Not that I'm trying to sell you on this, but I'm somebody, when I believe in a good cause, it's hook, line, and sinker, and I'll tell anybody who will listen. Sure. Anything you want to say to wrap up this fantastic
Just that
segment?
I thank everybody for their support, not just for the Taste of Whitman and Hanson, but for, we do a lot of fundraising. I realize that. And I know some people might look at it and say, oh, they're at it again, you know what I'm saying? But all of the money that we raise, all of it goes to scholarship funds. So it's well worth it in the end.
Michael.
Thank you.
Continued success to
Save
you.
your appetite, okay?
To you and the entire Dollars for
Thank you.
Scholars team.
Sure.
And to you, again, it's a worthwhile event, a worthwhile cause, and hopefully I'll see you there. And if you actually watch this and you happen to see me, walk up, not while I'm on camera with Carol, because she'll get upset, but walk up and say, "Hi, Kevin, I saw the show with Michael, and I'm here," and enjoy yourself. I know I enjoy myself when I go there. To close out the show, usually my tagline: if there's a conversation, a guest that you'd like to suggest for CrossTalk, or questions that you might have that we could do a program and discuss, info@WHCA.tv. That's your vehicle to get to me and the staff here at WHCA to do a program and discuss things that are important to your community. Until next time, have a good day.